Nike. There we go again. All right, we're back in Cleveland National Forest, getting ready to run up here just north of Mount Laguna again. If you've been a subscriber of this channel, you're pretty familiar with this trail, but this is our PCT trail that we like to hop out on. I had contemplated, Dale's jumping in and out of the truck, but I contemplated going down to the southern terminus of the PCT today, down by the border wall, but ended up opting for the mountains. So we're gonna do this trail again this week, get some mountains in, and then next week probably go down to the southern border. But we'll check in when we get out onto the trail, and see you then. All right, Dale and I are 1 mile in. I just grinded the inside of my foot on a rock there. I got these Nike. All right, we're just passing a mile in. I got, oh man, there's a perfect poop right in the middle of the trail there. I got these Nike trail runners on, which are probably coming to the end of their service life here. As I know, I got probably hundreds of miles on them. They've held up well, and the sole is just starting to separate now. I think I'm well past the 400 or 500 recommended miles for running shoes. That's for road running shoes too, so I don't even know if trail runners have a little bit different of a recommended service life on them. But driving up here, there was snow on the mountain. Like I said in the intro, we're back in Cleveland National Forest, where we are for almost every single one of these Saturday runs, and wasn't expecting that cold of weather. Yeah, last week, as soon as we got out of the truck, it was pretty warm. Not any frost on the ground. I think we were in the 50s when we hopped out of the truck. This week, there was snow on the ground, frost in the trees as we drove through, and then as we got to our normal parking spot where the sun hits early, it was nice and warm and in the sun. So driving through microclimates up here and finally getting out in an area that's got perfect weather for another Saturday morning run. I had brought a long sleeve with me in slight anticipation of cool weather. I'm saying cool weather, not cold weather, like we drove through. But as soon as I hopped out into the sun, quickly realized it was not going to be needed for this run. So we've knocked out a mile. Dale is being Dale. He's right up in front of me. Probably frustrated with the stops we take for pictures and bathroom breaks, but still cruising along. I'll check back in with you at mile 2. All right, we're 2 miles in. It seems as if every time I bust out the camera, talk about a mileage marker, I slip on a rock and it comes up and smacks me in the ankle. But I'm currently brainstorming what I want to say about this vest. When I stop here in a little bit, I'm gonna do a quick little talk about how amazing this vest is, because it truly is amazing. I've mentioned it on several runs. If you're interested in it, it's the Salomon Advance 5. Really just kind of sits snug on the body. You barely even notice it's there. It has tons of room for anything you need to store in it, to include keys, plenty of water, treats for Dale, whatever the case may be. But I'm not getting into the review here. Like I said, I'm just brainstorming for when it's time to give the review. It continues to be an amazing morning out here. If you're unfamiliar with the Southern California climate, I know California has something that we call the sunshine tax. Just means it's super expensive to live in California. There we go again. I am not nimble on my feet today, but just means that we pay extra money to get this beautiful weather. And sometimes on the coast, you scratch your head and wonder where that money's going, because there are several days, weeks at a time, where that marine layer just kind of sits over the coast and we don't get our sunshine that we pay so much money for. But almost always, you could come out here about an hour east and find this weather. There's only been a small handful of times that I've come out here and had to deal with rain or intense fog. Now the wind does pick up. That kind of comes with the territory as far as being on the edge of the mountains, going down into the desert. As those weather systems push over these mountains, the wind comes screaming down the eastern side of the mountains here down into the desert below. So there are times you have to deal with that. And that gets to be a nuisance, especially when it's super cold out. But for the most part, if you're stuck in the marine layer out there on the western part of the state, mostly next to the beach, really you only got to go about 10 minutes inland and you get out of that. But you keep pushing an hour east and you get to see this almost all the time. And while there were more cars than usual at the trailhead this morning, haven't seen a soul on the trail yet. So you also get some tranquility out here as well, which you wouldn't think of given how densely populated Southern California is. I don't think I've mentioned how far I'm going today. I don't think I've even mentioned to myself how far I'm going today. I think I'm going to shoot for 10 miles, which, as I always say, we're not breaking any records, going super slow, maybe even a little bit slower today. I kind of got over the sniffles, which may have been sneaking in on me last Saturday when I didn't feel like I had a ton of energy on the trail. Even though I had talked about eating a bunch of calories the night prior and driving up. And then it really started showing its head on Monday morning, but I still was unaware because it was supposed to be max out week for the most recent program I wrapped up. And I went in to do squats on Monday and I couldn't hit weights I was getting the week prior, let alone pushing up towards new maxes. And I just thought it was something strange with Monday. So I came back in on Tuesday, tried it again, and was basically just as weak, even though all the weights leading up to the max weight felt fine and smooth, went up pretty quickly. And then I'd say Tuesday during the day and at night is when I started to realize why maybe those weights weren't going up. Took Tuesday and Wednesday off from Wednesday and Thursday off from the gym. I wanted to go. I think I woke up Wednesday ready to go, but the way I felt, it wasn't happening. Same thing with Thursday. Woke up, decided, I felt much better, but decided that I would listen to my body for, I've listened to my body for a very few amount of times throughout my life when it comes to working out. Typically, I just plow through it and never let myself recover. I honestly, truly believe it does help me recover. But I took one more day off, got in there Friday morning, told myself I was going to take it slow, and then ended up pushing close to my max bench, which I was surprised that I even got as close as I did to my previous max, given how I had felt maybe 12 hours earlier. And then tried a weighted pull-up with 90 pounds on it. And that was after 4 sets of pull-ups, weighted pull-ups. And I came pretty close. I think technically my chin got up over the bar, but I can't lie to myself. I never felt the true lock in the elbows you typically feel when you get up over the bar. But that was my strength week. Out here on the trails now. Trails heal all wounds, it seems like. So we're gonna keep running. I think turn around at 5 miles and knock 10 miles out again this week, like last week. This time we actually recorded it as a trail run as opposed to a treadmill run. They're right next to each other. They both start with TR, and both their little emoji symbols look pretty close. They have a line underneath. I think the only difference is there's no line in front of it for the trail run, whereas there's a little line in front of it symbolizing the treadmill. But all right, we'll see you soon. All right, we blew right by our 3 mile marker by accident, but we are just past 3 miles and we're stopping for Dale's water break. I think the sun might be in the camera, and it also may be trying to focus on a twig that was right in front of the camera there. So if I'm out of focus, I apologize. But typically, I like to stop at 3 miles for water with Dale, and then we hit the 6 mile mark, stop there, and then see if we need to sneak in one more water break on the back end, depending on how far we're running that day. But with a 10 miler, I'd expect 2 water breaks for Dale. And if he could just figure out how to drink out of this hose, we'd have unlimited water breaks, but can't get it through his head. So I always just kind of go off of how Dale's feeling, since I could just get a drink whenever I want to drink. We only got to stop so that Dale can drink like a little princess here out of his water bowl. But today I'm feeling much better than I did last week's run. Now, granted, we're still kind of early. It's just over 3 miles into a 5 mile run. But if you look at it as glass half full, we're almost at the turnaround point. Only 2 more miles to the turnaround point. Less than 2 miles since I went over that 3 mile marker. And I know exactly where the turnaround point is because I have done 10 miles out and back on this trail before. That's going to be his last bowl of water for now. We'll save some more for later. But he's going to finish up the water. I'm going to finish getting packed up, which means putting his water bowl away, since he can't do that. And then we'll see you at mile 4. All right, we're at 4 miles, so a mile to the turnaround. I have to do some fancy out and back trail math, which I'm sure if you're a trail runner and you're familiar with not running loops all the time and having to do out and backs on the trail, you probably have had to do some of your own fancy math before to make sure you get the miles you want. And for me, largely today, that is because I've been going back and forth a ton. I won't say why I want, actually, I don't know if she'll watch this far into the video, but I left my camera back there. And so I had to double back about a quarter mile or so to go retrieve the camera because she's too valuable for me to be leaving behind like that. Obviously, you don't want to litter this beautiful forest anyway, but earlier I was saying how I kind of rolled my ankle back there, and I don't want to push my luck. Well, yeah, I guess the saying goes, I don't want to push my luck, but I don't believe in luck. I believe in God. I have faith in God. So I'll say it anyway. But of all the miles I have logged on the trail, of all of the weights I've lifted, I've never sustained any serious injuries. I've definitely tweaked things. I just rolled an ankle back there. I rolled it pretty well. I don't know if I've ever actually rolled an ankle that good. I thought maybe I did some damage to it, but everything feels great right now. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, sometimes you might think weightlifting, trail running, are they really related at all? Should you be a weightlifter and a trail runner? And some of what goes into and what you get out of trail running and weightlifting does take away from each other a little bit, right? If you're running tons of miles, you're fatiguing yourself a little bit more. You're burning a bit more calories. So you might not be putting the mass on required to lift the heavier weights you want to lift. So you might not be as strong as you want to be, depending on what your goals are. And then if you're in the gym, you're putting on those extra pounds and in muscle, making it more difficult for you to carry around on the trail. More muscle mass means more oxygen required for those muscles. So that's not ideal, especially if you're running up at higher altitudes. But where the two do complement each other, or where I just talked about, I've always lifted weights. I've talked about my more bodybuilding lifting type of style that I used to have, which I don't think is ideal when it comes to joint health and ligament and tendon strength. But it was enough of not being bodybuilder styled that I reaped the benefits of having strong joints, strong, dense bones. all of that you're going to want when you're out here on the trails. I think the way I rolled my ankle back there, if I haven't been doing this for a long time and I hadn't been adding in strength training, I likely probably would have dislocated or broke something back there. But because of the strength of my ligaments and tendons, it didn't break, didn't pop. So we run on, and we're going to continue to keep doing this combination of lifting and running in hopes that they continue to complement each other as they have been. All right, that's it for mile 4. We'll see you at mile 5. I actually passed my turn back there as I got distracted with someone coming up the trail. So we'll turn back here in a minute. All right, we're heading back now. I don't know when my mic turned off. It's possible that I did the last video with no audio, but you still can at least pick a little bit of it up off the camera itself. But we're well past the 5 mile mark. I'll probably end up getting more than 10 miles in, which is fine. It'll be a increase from last week's miles. Yawning. I don't know. Mood changed a little bit, but overall, you can't complain when you're out here on the beautiful trails. We are cruising back now. Excuse me. And as you know, going back on this trail means that you're going uphill. So, combination of fatigue from already being halfway through this run and climbing uphill means it'll be a little bit more slow going heading back than it was running out, which I was kind of surprised. It only took us like an hour and 10 minutes to run out, considering all the back and forth I did, which I didn't really stop my watch for. I know that's not a fast pace. An hour and 10-ish minutes for 5 miles is rather slow, but like I said, a lot of that is back and forth where I'm not stopping my watch. So we're heading back now. Dale just got another water break, so we won't need to stop at 6 miles. We'll see, maybe stop at 7 or 8 miles closer to the end to get him one last water break before we hit the truck and get back to his bowl of water that I leave for him back there. All right, I'll see you at mile 6. All right, we are well past 6 miles, closer to 7 actually. This is probably more the 7 mile check-in. Cruising along, we actually got some good pace back about a mile back or so. Was feeling good, legs were feeling good, breathing feeling good, and then started hitting the steeper inclines that I always talk about on this trail. So we've slowed down to a hike now, grinding our way back to the truck. Got a few more miles, got our daily run distance left. Yesterday we actually did our daily run on the beach instead of the bike trail, which was a pleasant change, welcome change. Because after the beach run, Dale and I always just hop into the ocean real quick and do a sort of, I guess you could call it ice bath. I call it a ice poop bath. If you're familiar with where in San Diego I may be located, you'd probably understand the reference a bit there. But that was fun yesterday. Doing this today. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to see how fast I can knock out the 1,000-pound challenge. So squat, bench, deadlift, one right into the other, back to back to back. I see like a lot of quick times, like around 10 seconds. I don't think I'm gonna go that fast, but I think I'm gonna do a fun little challenge with that at the gym in the morning. So the workout would mostly consist of warm-ups on each of the 3 big lifts until I'm ready to do the challenge. And then we'll see after the challenge, maybe stick around and do a couple extra deadlifts. I haven't deadlifted in a while. I'm supposed to max out this week, but like I alluded to earlier, wasn't quite feeling it. So that's the plan for tomorrow. And then we'll do a little road run circumnavigating Imperial Beach, California. and that'll be our Sunday. All right, we'll try to get better at the check-ins. Like I said, I was grooving back there, so didn't really want to stop to break out the camera. And we'll see you at mile 8. All right, we're now at 8 miles. The mic keeps turning off on me. Typically just stays on for the duration of the run, but no biggie. Got it back on now. 8 miles, grinding these uphills. We should have about 1 or 2 more spots left where we could get a little bit more of a jog in, but I don't mind. Yeah, slow hike grind up these hills feels just fine, and will get us back to the truck in due time. Dale's still grinding along. I know I always do his check-ins and nothing ever changes with him. He's fit as a fiddle and kind of a loner, just likes being out here. Gets along with other dogs, but I think prefers just being out here and running around in the wilderness, touching his wild side. But we will keep grinding through these uphills, checking at mile 9, which will put us just over a mile left to the end. I'm interested to see what the final mileage is going to be on this, but won't be more than 11, won't be less than 10. Dale's taking a little bit of break, so I'm going to take that as a sign of him wanting a little bit of water. So we're going to get Dale some water. A little ways past 9 miles now, 9.1, probably 6 now to be exact, and coming close to the end. As per usual, climbing uphill right now. This one's actually uphill both ways, is how it feels anyway. But climbing up to where we got some beautiful views of the desert down below us. Looks warm down there, it's warm up here, but not too warm. Got like a decent little cool breeze to keep us from getting too hot. And we'll probably wait to check back in one last time when we get to the truck, as it'll be close between the 10-mile mark and the end point. So we'll see you back at the truck. All right, so that's a wrap on 10.4 miles in 2 hours and however many minutes. Slow as usual, but feeling great considering how I felt earlier in the week. So it's always good to get out here, get the lungs pumping, and try to break out of that sickness. Also, obviously rest is good for your immune system, but I think getting out here in the fresh air pays dividends. That's it for this week. I think I alluded to possibly doing the southern terminus of the PCT next week for maybe another 10 miler, which would give me an extra mile of that southern portion of trail, as the last time I did 8 miles. So I'll have an extra mile before I turn around, see some different trail, and then come back. Since I've alluded to it, I guess I'm committed to it now, but we'll see. Plans always change. Plan right now is I'll see you next Saturday at the southern terminus of the PCT. Until then, please like and subscribe.